Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chatting with Beloved Chatters. There are a lot of live streaming internet shows around nowadays, and we're not talking to the hosts on this show. We are talking to the chatters. And today we have Spaghetti Tooth John with us. How are you doing tonight, Spaghetti?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining. You are well known in the community. I started after DabbleCon. I was not watching live before then, and you've been around long before me, gone through several variations of your name. Right now, your username is Sketti,
Yes.
Spaghetti Tooth John, Dr. Spaghetti Tooth John. And
Yes. Yeah.
that's actually a reference I kind of forgot about, and you keep that one alive. Could you give a little overview on why you are Spaghetti Tooth John?
So I started off actually using my real name in the chat. And one time, one night, I was watching Uncle Rico, and they were making fun of John. And I noticed that all the other chatters were changing their name to just different things like John's Dirty Fingernails, Beloved Chatter. Ga used to be Galaga, which is another Stuttering John reference.
Yeah,
There
this
was
show is a Stuttering John reference. The Beloved
yes.
Chatters.
So John was talking about actually eating spaghetti, and he chipped a tooth on spaghetti. And of course, Shuli and Bob made this whole reference of how he could chip a tooth on soft spaghetti with pesto. And it was just kind of funny. It just kind of hit me. Spaghetti Tooth John was a funny name. And I put it in, I wouldn't change my name, put it in the chat, and they liked it. So I just kept it for a while with the
And I like
complete
that you became a doctor at some point.
well,
You got your
that's later.
doctorate.
Yeah, that's later on. So I was going to change it. I was going to change it back to just my regular name. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, I actually changed my name back, and people got upset. They didn't like that. So I went back to Sketti to John, was going to try to change it again. And people were just like, no, we know you as Spaghetti to John. So I kept it for a long, long time. And then it wasn't until I started watching NLO that Patrick made this whole reference of me being a nurse and working in a hospital. He spent like 15, 20 minutes making this whole story up about me being this hospital worker and a nurse and how I was kind of slubbing along, working my day, listening to NLO. So I went ahead and changed my name to Spaghetti to John RN. And I started playing with it. About 2 weeks later, I thought, you know what, I want to be a doctor. So I changed it to doctor, and it just kind of went from
Doctor
there.
is very fun. I
Yeah.
have some exciting news. Beloved Chatter himself is here. We would love to have you. Email me at Dylan from somewhere. Also, we have a Discord. We would love to have more Beloved
God, there's
Chatters
people
on here.
watching this.
Yeah, this is about double what I usually have on my
Oh
shows at
shit! People are
11:30
actually
a.m.
watching this, guys.
That
No, don't watch this. No, but do watch
yeah,
it for him, but not for me.
yeah. I don't know if 11:30 is a bad time, or you just might be the big draw around
Oh,
here.
thank you, thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
another identifying mark, your avatar, which we saw up front. That's a very fun piece of art that you have there. You are going very superhero. Did you
Yes.
design that yourself?
So Bone and the Carbarian made that for me. I was so flattered. He actually started making AI avatars of the women of NLO. He made one for Ga. He made one for Dalish. I'm trying to think. He made one for Daytois, and then he made one for me. And I saw it in Discord. Like I just kind of came across it, and I asked him. I said, "This is amazing." He made 4 of them. And I said, "This is beautiful. I love it. Do you mind if I use it for my avatar? I think it's amazing." And he said, "No, have at it." And he sent all 4 of them to me. And that's the one I picked because I liked it because it was kind of like a, rock and roll type of, warrior woman type of thing. It just kind of caught me. It kind of caught me. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. So he started using it.
Could you give that artist name one more time? I want to make sure we
Oh,
give him.
Bonin. Oh, you'll love him. Bonin's amazing. Bonin the
Bonin.
Carbarian. Yes, he's definitely
Bonin the
on
Carbarian.
NLO.
Oh, what a fun
Yes.
name.
Yes. He's a chatter on you see him a lot on NLO or also in the Discord. Love him. I've talked to him in Discord before. He's just amazing. I love him. He's a great guy.
I actually have to thank you. You have gifted me a membership, Dr. Spaghetti Tooth John, to be Dabbler before.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and he does a lot of fun stuff over there. So happy to get the behind the scenes, the once a month bonus video, and thanks to generous chatters like yourself and David Chandler.
Yeah, I do like to support the shows when I can. I know that I was laughing with someone. We started giving, $1.99 here, $2.99 here when we would chat in Uncle Rico, and then we moved over to NLO. We would give like $4.99, and then it became kind of a contest between me and some of the people to see what we could do. And now it's like $50, $100. I mean, if you can, it's only when you can. It's not
Yeah, with me,
necessary, but I do like to support them. When I see a good show or I see somebody working really hard and providing content, I don't mind, super chatting $50 if I have it, because I think it's just showing them appreciation for all the hard work they do. Because it's something that I enjoy. It makes my day, go by faster, and I just like to support the shows when I can.
for me, I was treating it like tipping your server. $5 per show I watch. I've been out of work for a while, so I've been very much more frugal. I haven't given that $5 per show in a while, but having fun with this hobby here of streaming. And once I get some income, I would like to get back to that. I will give you $5 per show. Do you remember what your first super chat was? What you either had to say or you felt so inclined that this is so good you need money?
I don't know. I know it was with Uncle Rico, and I know it was probably some smart ass remark, but I can't remember exactly. It was probably something to do with John, but I don't know exactly what it was. I really honestly
Actually,
don't know.
same with me. It was the Uncle
Yeah.
Rico show where they were talking about John's mansion in Calabasas and being in Los Angeles. I thought the Pickwick pub was the Pickwick bowling alley in Burbank. I thought he lived in Burbank. His job was in Burbank, and I was just aghast when I found out, like, oh my god, that is the most obnoxiously rich neighborhood you can get. And
Really?
yes, like people who are the most elite or trying to pretend to be the most elite are in Calabasas. So when they were talking
Huh.
about that, I was like, guys, John had at minimum an hour commute every day when he could have gone to the Ray Combs suicide house and only had two turns, been to work in less than 10 minutes. The Ray Combs suicide house is a very nice house, by the way.
Oh,
Very nice
okay. Yeah.
neighborhood by there. I don't think his ghost haunts it. He actually died in the hospital, so I think it's free of Ray Combs' ghost.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I do remember them talking about that, but that's not an episode that I actually remember. I usually remember the ones where he's just being a dumbass, like with his cat litter, he doesn't clean up his cat box, or he's drunk, or he's, doing just something really stupid. The Washington D.C. one is one of my favorites that are in John, like, segments. That to me was just uh,
It
hilarious
was,
and
yeah,
scary.
endlessly, like, as everyone said, as bad as we expected John's DC trip to go, this was worse. How did
Yes.
you catch video and audio this bad? With me, do you remember Lose? I absolutely love Lose Pazos. Both Uncle Rico and Carl had some different clips, and I can't remember the exact episode of WATP, but to me, that's the one that sticks out in my mind as John failing to conduct an interview properly and just getting really creepy.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yes. So I actually watched a little bit of WATP. I didn't come into the universe through WATP. I came in through actually Shuley, through Howard Stern. So I listened to Howard Stern, got to know Shuley, and one of my favorite segments was that. I mean, I love the Whack Pack. I listened to it just to listen to the Whack Pack, know what they're doing. I was a big fan of High Pitch Eric and Wendy. I love Tan Mom. I know people give me shit and say she's not a Whack Packer. That's fine. I think
I
she's
was out by the
hysterical.
time Tanmon came in. I'm actually a
I love
second
Tan
generation
Mom.
Stern fan. My
I
dad was a
am.
fan
I'm
of
a
him.
baby. I'm a baby
Yeah,
Stern fan.
my dad was a fan when he was back in DC 101, and yeah, I caught on to him very quick. I remember listening to the Timmy the Cat saga, if you remember that one.
I think so. Yeah, like I said, I just started listening to Stern, and we didn't get Stern down here. There was no get Stern until Sirius, honestly. And then I didn't. I had Sirius, but you had to pay the extra money to get Howard Stern. And I didn't get Howard Stern until 2017, so very recently.
Very late,
And
yeah. To
very
me, I
late.
really started diving in deep in the serious years. His last few
Uh-huh.
years on terrestrial radio, he was just getting hammered by the FCC. He wasn't happy. He was happy again on Sirius. And those first 3-4 years, I think of as
Right.
absolute gold of Stern show. Tan Mom, I wasn't listening once she became a regular character. Eric the Midget was huge, and that was a big dividing line with fans. I
Yes.
loved Eric the Midget,
I
and there
did
was a
too. I did too. And I didn't get to see him live, but I got to hear the old clips and I loved him. I wish I could have been around when he was alive and doing his bit. But yeah, he's hysterical. I love him.
and he was doing this before we was. He was on
Hmm.
Stickum. He was on the Johnny Fratto Social Club. He was a pioneer, Eric the
Yeah.
Midget.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, so I really like the Wet Pack, and I know people have there's a division between people that like Shuli, people that don't like Shuli. It's a very polarizing section of a group of people. I came to know the Uncle Rico show through Shuli because I loved his impressions of Tan Mom and of um, underdog. Those I loved his impressions of them and interacting with them, High Pitch Eric. Uh, and so when he left the show, I kind of followed him to his podcasts that he was doing with Underdog and just kind of, and it was a smaller group. He didn't really have a lot of people. And then when Uncle Rico took off is when I really started watching it all the time. And I really loved it. My
I
first,
was
actually, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I was indifferent to Shuley. I didn't like him or hate him on the Stern Show,
Mhm.
and I am someone who had a show entitled The Shuley Detractor Show. But I found when I yell about something, I'm frustrated on the internet for an hour, which is about how long that lasted, 3 episodes, an hour. I'm once again
Uh-huh.
indifferent to him. I don't hold any animosity towards him, and yeah, I was a fan for a few months, but wouldn't consider my back to indifferent where we were regularly.
Right, right. And again, I still like to watch the show. I like Bob. I do like the BS show. I think now it's gotten more now that John's back, it's all Stuttering John stuff. So you can kind of pick and choose what you can watch. And now John just seems different because before there was Stuttering John and there was everybody else. And now he's immersed with Cardiff and which is good. I mean, I love the fact that he's with Cardiff. But now he's got everybody involved with his stream. So it's a little different than it was before. We could make fun of him before. So and Joey C, and you've got all the
A
characters
big
on there.
cast of character. Could
Yeah.
you give your camera one of these? I've seen you've frozen up. I've seen on the creep
Oh,
off
am I
when they do
frozen?
this. Yeah, I'm still
Okay,
getting your
hang on.
audio good. If we only get audio, that's okay. And
No, no, no,
I
no,
wasn't
no. I don't. Nobody wants to look at an icon.
I wasn't
um,
sure if I would just be speaking to your avatar. I know a lot of people don't want to show their face. Even B Dabbler, he's wearing his Spawn mask as a performer. And Cardiff, I think there's good reason that he doesn't show his face so that his employer doesn't know that he's fucking off so much, I think is what he said.
right. Okay, so let me see if I turn it back on. Am I gonna? It's still stuck, isn't it?
Yeah, we get a still image of you. So we can go with a still
Oh
image or we can go with
no.
the talking circle here.
Nobody wants to see the still image. Okay, we'll do the talking circle for a while. Okay.
All right. Your camera stuck with us for almost 15 minutes. So
Awesome.
hopefully it'll agree with you again one of these days.
Sorry about that.
Oh, all good. Thank you for coming on, showing that you are indeed, you look very similar to your avatar. Uh,
Oh, well, thank
that's
you.
that's something that you always wonder. You get this picture in your mind of what someone looks like. We know that Dave Daffler doesn't look like a bird. That's his pet bird. But whenever I hear that name, I think of his bird.
Yeah, so and the reason I do is because Bowden saw a picture of me, I think, on Twitter and took that picture and created the avatar with it. So again, I was very grateful that he was able to do that. And I did talk to Dave. I love Dave too. He's a nice guy. That's one of the reasons I love this community so well is that That's so funny. Everybody.
I don't disagree with you, Rochi. If it was going to be one way or
He's
the other.
hilarious. I love the people in the chat. The reason I participate in these shows and support these shows is the podcaster, but it's the people in the chat that bring me back over and over and over again. They are the most talented, funny, just engaging people that I've met. This community is amazing. I love everybody. So I love to get in there and kind of, sometimes banter back and forth. But that's what makes me come back is the people that are in the chat. They're really, really funny and very engaging too.
And they'll steer into the joke, like our buddy Dave Daffler. His name
He is a
is
good egg.
obviously Dalafior, but I think he now wants it to be pronounced Daffler because that's how Bob has said it for so long. Dalafior is now Daffler.
Yes, yes. So yes, Dave Daffler. You have to say Dave Daffler. And when people say it the right way, it's funny because people get to. I know that El Harible one time was saying it the correct way and it didn't sound right. We were having to correct them. No, it's Daffler.
Yeah, like that's kind of a signal that you're an outsider to this little weird community we have. You're actually pronouncing his name correctly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm reading everybody. Yeah, y'all are great. I love everybody, and I love I do appreciate people that do put themselves out there, and one of the things I do like to do is support Jake. I know people have a either love or hate relationship with Jake Hudson, but the fact that he is able to go every day live and do a podcast, despite the fact he's economically disadvantaged, he's got autism, he's got anxiety, and to be able to put yourself out there, even the people that I don't particularly care for, just the bravery to put yourself out on a podcast, I do admire that, regardless of who you are.
A lot of people
So
have performance anxiety to put themselves
mhm.
out there like that.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Pulper, I see my buddy Pulper's in there. Pulper 80.
Thank you for joining Pulper 80. And
I like to call him out.
a call out to Pulper 80. Thank you all for joining us tonight. So you were are you still watching the Shuli Network? I know the exact date. It was right after Pottstown. I haven't listened since the BS show on May 16th. Are you listening to Shuli much anymore?
So I don't, only because Melton his show is so long. So previously to them changing their format or changing their time, my time is Central Time. I could watch Melton from 6 to, or listen to him from 6 to like 10:30, and then the BS show would go on 11. Then you could watch the BS show for a while, and then Chad would come on, then MLC, and of course you spent your whole day watching podcasts.
Yeah,
But
you've
when
got the
they
whole schedule down.
You've got the whole schedule. But when BS show went earlier, by the time Melton is over, I mean, it's time to go do something else. And they've already halfway got their show. Either it's almost over, it's over. So I don't get a chance to go back and really watch the show unless it's something interesting that I've heard that I need to go back and see. And I've gone back to work full time, so it's a little bit harder now. When I wasn't working full time, I was able to stay home and work from home. But now I'm working outside the home. So now I have to catch Melton a little bit in the morning, try to catch some during lunchtime, and then after work, try to catch some MLC and see what's going on with Tukey and everybody else, OJ and everybody at night. So, because I
I'm a
do want to keep.
latecomer to NLO. No one likes onions. I was surprised. Like once I found out Melton Solo does 4 hours a day, and he's been doing it for years. I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. Because I'm doing 1 hour a day. I actually pushed my morning show off half an hour at the recommendation of G Rob, another beloved chatter, who said, "Hey, I'm still watching NLO at 11:30 at 11 a.m. 11:30. I might be able to join more often." So yeah, Melton, I need to check out a little more. Every time I see clips of him, like B Dabbler's segment, El Horrible, excuse me, El Horrible segment. What is it? Let's blow Melton. He's got a jingle to it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Melton
I
did
love
such
this.
great work. Let's just pat him on the back. Thanks for doing it for us, Melton.
I mean, it's no secret. I love Patrick. I love that show. I just like the yelling and the screaming and the sarcasm and the smart ass. It's my type of humor. I like people that are kind of smart ass, and and kind of snarky. So I like that, and I know that a lot of that's kind of just put on. So it doesn't come from a place of hate or real anger. Sometimes I'm sure he's grumpy, but that's why I love watching the show. I just like watching his snarkiness and the way he kind of interacts with the chat. I'm a huge Melton fan. I've tried
Yeah,
to
he's
turn.
absolutely excelled in this format, and as I've said, I haven't watched Shuli since May, and, some of the people who are still on, it sounds like it might not be the format for them to go that long in the morning. It sounds like some people believe they're getting a little tired, and it does take a rare person. Like, one of the reasons I'm only doing an hour because 'cause I'm someone the internet has never heard of. Another reason, yeah, just the skill. I need training wheels. Let's make sure I can do this at 60 minutes, 4 hours solo. That's a heck of a job.
It is. I'm trying to turn my camera back on so I can say hi to Sam V. I'm looking at Sam V right now in the chat. Hey, Sam V. He's yeah, poor baby. He's part of Spurgville now. So I've definitely been to Spurgville and visited him. Yeah, you love me. Everybody knows that. I do. I love Sam V. We need everybody. We need the people that are, just the normal people that chat. We need the people that are like Sam V. I think everybody has a place in the chat. It makes it very interesting. I love when Jared comes on and he starts his bit, his depression thing that he goes through. It just makes everything very interesting. I like the I guess you say cornucopia, or kind of like a mixture of oddballs and weirdos in the chat, because I'm pretty much an oddball and weirdo myself. So I
As am
appreciate a
I.
variety.
I'm
Yeah.
I very much understand that as an oddball, the majority won't like me, but I hope, the minority that does like me finds me. Have you been to any live shows? I went to DabbleCon, and yeah, such a great experience at DabbleCon. I want to go to WATP in Tampa. That's going to be a fun time. I had a blast in Tampa when I visited it. Lots of Scientologists, even more Scientologists just out and about than in Hollywood. I mean, they're out and about in Hollywood, but you see them looking like Mormons. Those Scientologists down there in Clearwater. And were you a Oh, I already asked a question of live shows. I was about to stack.
Here, I think it's working now. Look, it's working. Yay, I got it working. Hey
Hey,
guys.
guys, we've got the pretty lady back.
Yay. So, oh my gosh, you asked about live shows. Okay, this is gonna be hilarious because, yes, I have been to a live show. I went to Dallas to see Chad, so that's the only live show I've been to. But it wasn't a live show; it was a comedy show. So no, I haven't been to DabbleCon yet. I really did want to go to DabbleCon. It was in February, and we were having a freeze down here in Texas, so it was kind of hard to get there. I did buy tickets to Stuttering John. I am going to the Stuttering John event in March, and I hear that there's a DabbleCon maybe in February, and I will definitely be going to that. If Melton would ever do an NLO show like in Vegas, my ass would be on the plane, or I would, if I'm going to drive 4 hours to go see Chad in Dallas, I'll drive to go see Melton, or get on a plane to see Melton. So
I
I
absolutely
keep,
love Vegas. I almost moved
yeah,
there, and instead I came somewhere. It was actually a dog that got me to move here. My roommate that I was going to move in with in Las Vegas, his job got transferred here to somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, I love that little puppy you have." I got used to the fact I was going to live with a puppy soon. So,
yeah.
but from Vegas to here somewhere because of a little doggy.
Yeah, so you went to DabbleCon, didn't you?
Yes, absolute blast. I had no presence in the live chat before that. It was the community, like people who had never met each other, who were already friends. That I was like, oh, this is fun. I listened to all these. I've got to listen live.
Hmm.
So that's when I came up with this name. Actually, it was right before I came up with Dylan from somewhere, because Dylan the Wanderer, I don't know, just doesn't have a ring to it. I call this name like
Right.
the Simpsons joke, the B sharps. It's witty when you first hear it and less funny every time after.
Well, and I would love to meet people in person. I mean, I know that I would, Carlos Danger, I'd love to meet in person, El Rible, OJ. These are people that I've kind of touched base with and said I'm coming to the John show. I know Beloved Chatter. I'm sure he doesn't mind because he said he went to the DabbleCon. These are you again people that I would love to be able to meet in person, hang out, have a beer, have a drink. Tried doing that with Chad, didn't really work out, but that's okay. I mean, I think the people that are going to the Stuttering John event are going to be separate from maybe the MLC people. Maybe some crossover, but
Yeah, a
it's
little crossover,
yeah.
a little non. Who knows what the percentage is? But yeah, some crossover and some unique.
Yeah, look at I'm just reading Kinky Loco. He's hilarious. You're not missing. Oh, come
Yeah,
on. Carlos seems like a nice guy. I
yeah.
bet he's a lot of
Kinky
fun to be
Loco
around.
and Fudgicle are like OGs in the chat. I heard their name for like a year before I started jumping in here.
No, look, and King of all Diff said he's coming from Texas. So I'll let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready for a road trip.
And
I'm ready
in the
for a road trip.
Discord, I was talking with some people. I wish instead of Tampa, it was in Atlanta. There was a puppet
Uh-huh.
museum in Atlanta. That's the big reason I want there to be a dabbler event in Atlanta. So it can be a huge gathering over there at the puppet museum as well.
Well, and I was teasing too. I told Jake we should have a Jake Con like in Mississippi. So he was all excited for a while. He said he was gonna have a Jake Con in Hattiesburg. I don't know. There he said it's a huge city. There's 200,000 people there. I'm like, okay, sweetheart. Yeah, I don't think that's a huge city, but that's a huge city to him. So we were teasing him for a while that we were gonna have a Jake Con. He's a good sport. I like to hang out with him sometimes and talk to him. And if I'm in the chat and I don't really like to go on because he's trying to branch out to like he had Stuttering John on. He's had all these people on his show. But if I see him in there and he's having maybe a panic attack or having a hard time, I'll jump on the stream and help him out a little bit. So, but yeah, he'll say, Sketti, I'm gonna send you the link. So he'll send me the link and I'll hop on.
So you were a late comer to Howard Stern. Were you
Mm-hmm.
an Opie and Anthony fan at all?
No, I don't know. I didn't know any of these people. I know it's so strange. I knew Shuli. So I started watching Uncle Rico. And then I didn't even know. Okay, this is so ridiculous. I didn't even know who Stuttering John was. I had no freaking idea who he
You're
was.
gonna upset him with that comment.
I know. I know. Now he's gonna call me out. Now I'm gonna have another show saying Spaghetti to John is a liar. But I didn't. I really didn't. John, don't have a show about me, okay? I've already had 3 about me being a liar. But I just started watching Shuli and I was like, okay, Stuttering John used to be on Howard. I know Howard, and I thought it was hysterical. And then next thing you know, I'm watching WATP, and then I'm watching Steel Toe, and then from there I started watching Win by Two. And the only reason I watched NLO was because Aaron brought up Win by Two and brought up NLO in one of his segments, and I said, okay, now I've got to go watch NLO, see what that's all about, and Win by Two, and that's how I got to be. It's so funny how these people they want to talk about another podcast, they want to put them down and talk, these people aren't important, but you mentioned them, and then now I'm going to go over there and check it out. That's kind of how I found the Uncle Rico show. Stuttering John put it in one of his tweets, and I was like, oh, what is this about? So I clicked on it just because Stuttering John was bashing it. That's how I found Uncle Rico, and I found NLO through the fact that Aaron was ragging on him. And I was like, okay, now I've got to check this podcast out. And once I started watching Patrick, I just kept watching him. I just thought his format, the way he presented himself was just hysterical. And the fact that he interacts with the chat so much is a lot of fun. And I get to, kind of fuck with him and he fucks back with us. It's a lot of fun to fuck with him. He doesn't take it too seriously. So, yeah.
I
It's a lot of fun.
discovered Aaron of Steel Toe through Darkside Phil. I really went down a rabbit hole of that lol cow. And Stuttering John and Chad are like a different breed of lol cow. Like they had a career. They're comedians. Yeah, let's call
Uh-huh.
them comedians.
Yeah,
And
comedians.
whereas Darkside Phil, like he seems to be, he never really wanted to be an entertainer. Just tried to be a streamer because it's lazy. Have you ever gone down the lol cow rabbit hole of Darkside Phil or Chris Chan? Any of those?
No, no, I'm down the rabbit hole of Ray DeVito. That's dark and deep enough. I mean, once you get Ray DeVito, everybody's gonna hate this. I know
Ray
he's gonna
DeVito
take.
is like your cocaine, your heroin. You are shooting Ray DeVito now, and you can't stop.
So I like to watch him just because the things that fly out of his mouth are just absolutely ridiculous. So I like to, and I'll fuck with him in the chat too. And again, he's very good natured. He'll say, "Oh, Sketti 2 doesn't like me." I do like him. It's just nice. It's fun to kind of mess with
It-
him. And I
y-
know
yeah,
that
there's so
he had,
many low hanging fruit of
yeah.
Ray to ball bust with.
Yeah, so and I like to tease Patrick. He keeps talking about leaving this universe. Once you're down here, you can't leave. Nobody can leave,
Steel
right, guys?
Toe Steel Toe insists that he has left. That's someone who dabbled in dabbling and then was like, "I'm done,
Yeah.
guys. I'm out of
Yeah.
here."
It's just fun. I mean, it's just good nature fun. I'm kind of a nerd and a dork by nature. I love just once I get into something, I really like to get into it. And I just think what we do in the chat and what these podcasters do is just a lot of fun. And as long as you don't take it too seriously and just enjoy it, um, yeah, I think it's a lot of fun,
Sam V
basically.
is curious what you think of Steel Toe, and I don't know. I liked him more at the beginning of the
Stampede.
year. I was actually watching Steel Toe not regularly,
I
but
love
in the
him.
rotation. And yeah, for some reason I've petered off since the beginning of the year with Steel Toe.
Look, Sam B, I don't like Steel Toe. I don't like Aaron. That's okay. That's the one show I just can't watch anymore. I just think he, there's just something in there that just screams, I don't know, not genuine, kind of mean spirited. I don't like people that are mean spirited. I mean, you can be kind of grumpy, but just mean spirited. He just seems that way, and so I have a heart. I can't watch. I used to watch them, and then once I saw them through other people's eyes, and I kind of could see, and I know other people like them. I know that Little Limmy's a big fan, Stevie Lou's a big fan. I please go watch them, enjoy them if that's your thing. There's a lot of people that don't like NLO, and I love NLO. So I'm not going to be upset or think you're stupid if you watch Steel Toe. It's just not for me. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, something that he was doing at the beginning of the year felt like it was working better than I can't put my finger on it, but it just felt like it was working better at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year.
And even people that still watch Chad, go watch Chad. I mean, even though he was such a fucking asshole to me, um, he's still a person. He's still a human being. He still is entertaining. I can still objectively look at him and say he's entertaining. He's got some entertaining qualities. And I actually still watch the show sometimes. I won't chat in the chat, but I'll watch it just to see what he's up to because who knows what he's gonna do next. So I don't think I'll ever support him again, but I don't mind. Please go enjoy him. But
Yeah,
enjoy what
you're
you
a very
enjoy.
live and let live person. Very good
Yeah, yeah,
good uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Very good outlook. That
yeah. I
hard
mean, you
word,
only live
outlook.
once. Yeah, you only live once. As long as you're not hurting someone, go do what you need to do to have fun and enjoy this life. You only get one life. Please go enjoy it. Life is very short. It's very precious. So just do what you can to enjoy it the best way you can. And again, all these people that I have met in the chat are just fucking amazing. These people are just their backstories, their lives, what they're doing. Anybody, even people that people will think they're stupid, like Joey C and Chow and Little Mir. The fact that they would get on stream to me is it just it's a sense of I don't know. I kind of admire that. That's kind of you have to have courage to do that. Put yourself out there because people are going to shit on you. So
You sound
even
like
the
someone who would give the busker a dollar or five if you see
yeah,
him
yeah, I think
playing
so.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, I'm hoping I'm not boring everybody. I'm looking to see if I'm saying cut her loose. So if there's anything else y'all want to know, please feel free to ask. I don't mind. I'm an open book.
Who are your favorite stand-ups? I have like a rotating list of mine. I can't hammer it down. I can't hammer down my favorite movies or TV shows, but I do have a rotating list. Do you have a top three or people
I
who
mean,
would almost be there?
I know that I used to watch stand up a lot. I went to see Bill Burr in April of this year. Amazing. I love Bill Burr. His stand up was awesome. I did go see Dave Chappelle a couple months ago, and I love Dave Chappelle, but his the stand up I saw was not good for me. So I do
And
go
you know
see.
the thing with big names like that is they're working out their material on these big
Right.
shows, whereas many people on the open mic level or even above that are going out to those open mics and going to work out their material. Where I saw Norm Macdonald working out his Hitler's Dog material in a I think it was 2-3,000 seat arena in Los Angeles, and that was such a fun experience to see Norm live. I
Oh
He's definitely up
yeah.
there. I love, love, love how dry Norm Macdonald was.
So I wish I'd gotten to stand up earlier. Like, I'm giving away my age, but I'm a 90s girl. So I did mostly concerts. I was a huge concert goer, went to a lot of concerts, saw a lot of bands. It wasn't until probably mid 2000s that I started seeing stand up, maybe going to see some plays and more theater stand up kind of thing. Um, and that's when I would, pay attention to like Kevin Hart and the big names. But as far as locally, Houston does have. It used to have a bigger, like a lot of different clubs that you could go do see stand up in. Now it's kind of shrunk a little bit. There's only a few clubs that you can go see local stand up. But when I get a chance, I do go out there and just see the local comics. And some of them were really good. Some of them were okay, but some of them were really good. And I actually saw there's a group of teachers that go around the country and do stand up. And I saw them in July, and they were actually excellent. I was really surprised. People that used to teach who've given up teaching, of course, it's geared towards teachers, but they were really funny. I enjoyed it. One of them was from Tampa. So I wonder if I asked
A
Chad if he
connection
knew this
there,
person.
possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I
So,
kick myself for never seeing Patrice O'Neal at the DC Improv. That was his
yeah.
favorite venue to perform at. Some of my friends, that was their favorite, and it was really posthumously that I got into. Actually, that's really how I got into Opie and Anthony. There are a lot of Opie and Anthony episodes that Patrice sat in for the whole show that are available on YouTube, and yeah, watching all the Patrice heavy episodes that are clearly marked, watching all the Bill Burr episodes that are clearly marked.
Mhm.
That's how I got into Bill Burr's podcast. He's strayed away from the relationship advice, but that was fun. All the relationship advice Bill Burr gave out over the years.
Well, see, when I joined kind of this universe, I didn't know who O and A was. I didn't know who Stuttering John was, so I had to kind of learn and go back and like
And it's a big
revisit.
catalog. It is a
Yes,
huge catalog to
yes.
go back to.
So I hate to say that people are gonna be like, "Oh goodness," but yeah. So I had to go learn all, and I'm thinking, "Wow, how did I miss all this? How did I not, you know, but again, I think it depends on where you were living. If you're living northeast and up north, you really get exposed to those shows and those comedians and those personalities. And other parts of the country, you don't. Especially before there was satellite, before there was internet, you just didn't get to hear about those shows and those people. So now that I do, it's nice to go back and kind of revisit some of the older episodes.
Yeah, so much to go through. And you can, as I said, since they're so well marked on YouTube, having all the clips, like you can miss big swaths of is this Lady Di, is this Gary the Conqueror, and
Right. Oh yeah,
The first Jake Hudson, kind of Gary the Conqueror.
yes. Oh, that's right. That's right.
And now Wendy the Slow Adult is back on the scene. She's made a couple appearances
Yes.
over on El Horrible.
Yes, she's in the chat. She loves Tukey. I mean, well, who doesn't love Tukey? Tukey's awesome. I mean, that was like the best thing that El Horrible ever did was do Tukey. Yeah, so it's so exciting to see her in the chat. I haven't gone to see her to watch her stream. I need to. I know that previous to being in Tukey's chat, that she would go on and she would stream sometimes for 24 hours, and you could just click on and she would be doing her laundry or just sitting around, or sometimes kind of like what Jake Hudson does. Sometimes you click on Jake Hudson's stream and you see his forehead and he's just kind of sitting there. But now that she's in the chat and talking to Tukey, it's really exciting to see her there. So
King of all
Tookie is a
gifts.
monster. Oh,
He's
come
just got
on.
to be like, not me. I am not a Tukey fan.
We love Tookie. He's funny. He really
He,
is.
he's a lovable monster. He is
He
indeed.
is.
He looks like he is in the monster family based on the Muppets and Sesame Street I've seen. He's
I mean,
a great.
just thinking that one day I'm going to take this green monster and make up this whole character, and it all started with trying to snipe Chad, sniping MLC.
It was
And
such a yeah, I was so chatted out. I was like, "No more. I'm tapping out." And then this puppet starts
we're all
stream
chatted out.
sniping his stream snipe. I'm like, "This is this is ridiculous. I fucking love it. You've got gold here." And he beat me to
Right.
the punch. That giant dog has performed in a theater in Hollywood. Tukey got there before Mr. Winston could make his debut.
I mean, he is so El Hariba is so talented. I have actually got a couple of I requested a couple of cameos from Tukey, and you could tell that he's doing them just kind of on the fly, and they're hysterical. I watch them over and over again. They're really good. So if y'all get a chance, I'm gonna plug them. Hey, if y'all get a chance, definitely get a Tukey cameo. They're hysterical, and I've kept them. And anytime I want to watch something really funny, kind of lift my spirits, I'll go watch those Tukey cameos. They're hysterical, and you could tell they're not planned out. He's just kind of riffing as he's going through them, and they're really, really funny. I enjoy them. So I'm gonna plug El Horrible and Tukey, and get yourself a cameo. They're really funny.
And as we wrap up, I'll get to my plugs. I'll ask if you have any more plugs beyond our buddy Tukey there. El Harible has really gotten a lot of fans over the past year. A great job. Well done, sir. And I will be on What Is This Game with Annie. We will be talking about Valheim next Wednesday. That is every other week. I need a little bit extra time to do these games. That's Annie's big passion. It's one of my hobbies, but I'm not on there. I need an extra week rather than just one to get on these. Tomorrow is TikTok around the clock at 11:30 a.m. And Annie and I had such a great dynamic that we are doing a regular show Friday nights at midnight, Nerds Without Dates, where for the next several weeks we will be analyzing episodes of Futurama. So check out my channel, 11:30 a.m. Eastern most days. And I would love to have more of you beloved chatters on. Get in the Discord, email me at dylanfromsomewhere@gmail.com. And please, I always do a shill segment because when you tell people to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, they're more likely to do it. And as much as that gives me the douche chills, this is a necessary evil to strobe on. I am shilling my channel, liking, subscribing. Thank you so much for chatting. Also helping the algorithm is if you comment after this video is done. And are there any other plugs that you have, Dr. Spaghetti Tooth John?
In the comments. I know it's not very exciting, but it was fun being on your show and chatting with the chat. And I like to see people's comments. No, Sam V, Chad did not smell. He was fine. And I didn't notice any eyeliner. So see, that's what I want to do. I want to get on a show and I want to talk to the chat. That would be my look. I mean, this is great. I appreciate you having me on as and interviewing me, and I'm very flattered because there's not, I can't imagine how interesting I can be. I would love to be able to go to a show and just kind of stick around and kind of fuck with the chatters and talk to the chatters because they're hysterical and answer questions.
And that is a show concept. Like when Obnoxious John does his live streams, he's like, "This is not a show." I think that's what he should call his live streams. Is this is not a show?
I love you too,
Where
Pulper. So like I said, these guys are great. I love you guys. Thank you for putting up with me. And Dylan, thank you for having me. And
absolutely.
Again, I'm very nervous about being on camera and talking and doing a show, but anything I could do to help out any of the podcasters or any of the people that do content, I'm more than happy to help out however I can.
King of all diffs would love to have a Sketti and Dalish show, but I think you do have a concept there. You have a bubbly personality that people would absolutely enjoy chatting with, and
thank you.
Yeah, all you need is a few to start. Like when I started, I was broadcasting to nobody for a month before G-Rob, Dabblestorian, and about a dozen other people. Rochi is a big one. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is when you
Oh, I
first
need a
start,
feud?
no one's watching.
Oh, so I need a feud with somebody, right? So who can I feud with? Let me see. I'm
Um,
gonna Sam V. You wanna feud with me? I can feud with Sam V.
Sam V, can you do some wrestling promos? Help people get interested in seeing Spaghetti Tooth John's response. That would help her get an audience up front to get a feud going with you, Sam V. Maybe you could just start, and she'll volley it back to you. Yeah, that does get people interested. Excuse me, my mouth malfunctions around an hour, and we're about 45 minutes in.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Thank all you beloved chatters for being on the take two. Thank you for being here, Spaghetti Tooth John, and thank you to all the beloved chatters for being here with Chatting with Beloved Chatters.
Thank you guys.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right, dear honey, with the right left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.